We are busy upgrading the clutches for Sisu. So we removed the old ones.
Sailing Sisu, if you dare, sailing Sisu, you live. Sailing Sisu, life for me. One life, oh, one more mile to go. One more time, oh, it's the only way you know. One life, oh, one more mile to go. One more time, oh, it's the only way you know.
We're now pretty much in the middle of the Atlantic, or the middle of our route. I think we have something like 200 miles to go, then we're in the middle of the passage. And we were talking about these clutches, these new ones, and all the lines, and they are very nicely organized now, and it works so well. And I made some footage of it, but I never made the reason or the motivation why we needed to do it. This is the Lewmar clutches, and they have this genius domino clutch effect. If you can look over there, it has these three things that basically, like a domino, they grab the line and they pull it down. So there's not much chafing going on these clutches, but still we had a lot of chafe. While the Spinlocks have a cam that's just pressing onto the line. So the line will be like this, and the cam will just press like that. And the line cannot go back because the cam is going more down and basically being wedged. So the Spinlocks, they do chafe maybe on the line, or that's what the people say. But this one, I think the problem with this one was, and I need to show you that. If you look at this green line, that's a sheet line, and at this moment we've got a barber roller out. So the barber roller is just making our sails go much wider than the tracks can provide us. So we made the barber roller onto the midship cleat, so it's much wider now. But normally this one will be like that onto the car, and that car is much higher than the clutch over here. So if you follow the line, you can see the car, that car, the big ball, the big block, it's a little bit, it's quite high above the deck. Well, these ones, and I made this now a little bit different, but these ones at the bottom, if you look at all of these ones here, they flat on the surface of the deck. And this is the difference between the Lewmar and the Spinlocks. The Lewmar was opening like that. So while the Spinlocks is opening the other way, like this. So the line with this one is coming in from this side. And when you open it up, it's actually pressing this side against the line. And that side is now pointing at that roller block that you see there, the car roller. And that roller was a little bit higher. So the line that's coming in here is actually touching this first domino. And it's just moving also slightly all the time. And because there's a lot of tension on it, these lines are super tight. It's almost like a steel string. And that steel string is just like slowly just chafing away on the first domino over there. Now the Spinlocks is the other way around. So the line is coming in there and the clutch is on this side. So the line is coming in there and the clutch, or the claws, is on this side. So the line can move here, but it will not chafe on the block or on on the jaws, or so we thought. But this is a big difference between the Lewmar and the Spinlock. So we were thinking maybe we should put in the Spinlocks, and then we will get rid of that chafing and losing our, specifically the starboard sheet line all the time. And we already lost 3. And then just very recently we lost one on the port side. So we're not sure whether the port side one was damaged before we changed it, that it was chafing all the time there, because that line was doing already more than, I would say, almost 10,000 miles on this clutch. I needed to change the sail shape a little bit better. Not that I'm an expert in that, but I start to feel that I can now venture a little bit further than just sheet lines and halyards. And so one of the things, actually 2 lines that can help us doing the sail shape is the outhaul. So the outhaul is right at the back of the sail, like there, and if you pull it tight, then you flatten the sail along the boom. So if you go upwind, you straighten it, you make it quite harden up basically, and you can make the sail shape very flat. But if you're downwind like now, then you can let the outhaul out, and then it shapes the sail differently. So the sail is now scooping up more wind to go downwind. So that's the first one. The other one is the topping lift. So this is the outhaul that we have here, and this is the topping lift. And the topping lift is basically that line running from there all the way up to the mast, and it controls the angle of the boom, which is more or less the same thing. If the boom is going too much like this, because of the weight of the sail is not enough, then I can pull the topping lift a little bit up, bring the boom up, and make the sail shape a little bit more like a bucket. And I can pull down those triangular sheets over there, and I can pull it down, and then the boom will be secure, and the sail, the weight of the sail and the force of the wind will not lift the boom up and down and creating quite a lot of noise and hammering and slamming on the boom and the sails. So the rigging is then much more stable, but the sail shape stays like that. So it's not just the weight of the boom that's changing the sail shape, it's now fixed. So together with the outhaul, it's actually basically to change the sail shape for a better shape downwind. And when you go upwind, you want to make everything flat and stiff as possible. So then I can let the boom drop, I let the outhaul, the topping lift drop, I let the topping lift out, and also I bring in the outhaul, I harden up on the outhaul. So then the boom drops, and the sail shape is then changing from that to that. But I also on the foot make the foot very tight. So those are the first reason for me, was to bring extra lines in to change the sail shape. So here's the old Lewmar clutches. Sorry. And now we're going to do some fiberglass work to fix all the holes there. That's clever. So the next phase is to fill all these holes. Okay, so we are busy upgrading. Yes, Thomas.
So I think this is the best way to do it, because now we have spinnaker sheet, jib sheet, spinnaker halyard, or main halyard, sorry.
Main halyard.
Topping lift now, which is going to go through there.
Yeah.
Reef line here. This is going to be free. So if you want to do the jib halyard, you can come up on this one and go to there.
Okay.
And I think that'll work best.
That will be good.
Then we're going to go these 3 in 1.
Okay. And then we need to move that block over there.
We need to move this block up.
Yeah.
And we'll do these 2, and then outhaul, which is going to be here.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to figure out how to fit the outhaul in now too. So we'll have 1, 2, 3 in 1, and I think maybe we'll have to get a double block for here for the outhaul.
And outhaul not go through this one here.
Yeah, that should work.
And then this one goes in the middle.
As long as these 2 can go, yeah. I'm gonna now
yes,
line
1,
that
2,
up.
3, and then 1, 2, 3 again. Yeah. Yeah, looks like it. So it looks very ropey. And we are busy doing the outhaul and the topping lift. Lots of things to be done.
Lots of knots.
Lots of knots. This is the outhaul. And then put a little 2 purchase effect here. So we've got a stopper knot there, goes through the eye there, and then a little pulley over here, and then down into the boom. So we've got a little bit of a double purchase here. It's nice. And now we have a big toe breaker coming here. Yeah,
That's good.
now it's double stack with 10mm bolts instead of 8. It looks good. Thomas is working very hard here, drilling new holes.
Hold through the back.
Yeah, you know, they work very hard to make a perfectly sealed boat. And Thomas come and drove freaking hundreds.
24 holes.
24?
We haven't finished yet either.
So here's the new Spinlock. Getting ready. So we are still work in progress, and it is dirty. So this is the new jammers, or the clutches. So we're going to get a little bit more, and then one for the spinnaker sheet line is going to be a little bit, so it is in line with the winch. So it's coming from there and then in line and into the winch. So we still need the ones that's going to be direct thing, so we can direct to any of the winches like this or like this. But the wrong ones arrived, so we need to order new ones. And then there at the back, I double tap those ones so we can get now our topping left. And the outhaul is now the Leopard 45, our Leopard 45 Sisu has an outhaul as well. So I can adjust the shape of the sails. A little bit more about shape of sails a little bit later. The brown holes is the original clutches, so they are over there and then over here, and this is the new position and the new holes. So these clutches don't have the same length, so we had to close all the holes and then put new ones. So the new ones are all now nicely in a row here, and work in progress. So we are making progress. Almost the final result. We still need to get the organizers here, but at this moment it doesn't look too bad. There's a lot of lines now coming here, and then we also upgraded this big dude here, so it's very nice. I should have documented this from the beginning. So here is the aft organizers. This is the TSR 20 long. As you can see, they are pretty long there. And they are supposed to, that any line that comes through can then be diverted to any one of the two winches, so you can deflect it that way or you can deflect it that way. We do have sometimes the Spinlock app or the Code D app, and then we need to shadow it with the genoa, and then that is going to need or require the same winch. So in the past we had to deflect from there to here to try and get that one up, but this one was not on a jammer. So now we can keep both the sails actually on winches, and the jammers can we only use when we really need them. But this jammer was never there, so this is a new thing that we installed, and that side of course exactly the same. So now these deflectors, I need to put them in such a way that there's enough gap there so they can actually deflect and we can get our fingers and hands in there. But I run into a problem. If I align them perfectly with the lines coming out so that all the clutches are perfectly in the middle, then this one is giving us a problem because it deflects automatically. So now that line there is coming out too much to this side, so it is actually now deflected. I'm exaggerating, but it's now deflected this way and then around the organizer and then this way. So in the beginning we aligned that one perfectly with the winch because we will be sailing without these deflectors, and for that reason, and we didn't know when we will get these organizers in or the deflectors in, so I had to make sure that this line is the same as the winch, on the same alignment. But it meant now, and afterwards in retrospect, that this one is now kind of like in the way, this deflector. But I worked it out, so I moved all of them up. But the problem is, it's exactly by accident. I don't think we actually worked this one out. By accident, these two deflectors, these two, so this is one and that's another one, are against each other. So if I move this one, then this one also needs to move, and luckily we have got some space over here. So what I did was I marked the lines where it should be, and I calculated on my calculator what the distances must be. So I started from here the one that's going to be there, the end one. And then this is 34. So instead of taking 34, 34, 34, 34, I said, all right, let's start where I want the hole to be drilled, the first one. And then that will be 34, 68, 102, 36, 170, and then 204 where the last one is. And I did the same. So then I spaced the two organizers next to each other and I started there. So then that will be, that's where the first one need to be. And this is more or less 40 millimeters apart. And then that one is 34, again the same, 68, 102, 136 and so on. So I've got them now marked. Now I need to start drilling. It's not a nice idea to drill. Something that you need to be aware of is these organizers have these like a shoulder stud that you're going to insert. So actually quite kind of like cool. So in any one of these you need to insert the stud, and we need to make sure that there is all of those nice things like locks, Loctites and stuff like that. But the thing that I wanted to tell you is this hole here is, or the bolt is 8 millimeter, but the shoulder over there is 12 millimeter. So you need to drill a 12 millimeter hole to start off, of course, but the thing is, this you cannot compress more than 10 millimeters. So you must make sure that your deck is at least 10 millimeters thick before you can actually use these. And it, of course, it can go very, very, very thick as well. So you can go through wooden core and stuff like that. But yeah, so this is minimum 10 millimeters. So we measured, we drilled a small hole, we measured, we are sitting at 12 millimeters. So the Leopard 45 at the place where I want to drill is 12 millimeters thick. So let's hope all of it is 12 millimeters. But there's also going to be Sikaflex and things like that involved. So I think we will build up a little bit of millimeters there as well. So we are good. So just keep that in mind. Okay. Now for drilling. So what I was thinking of doing, because I'm not really happy making holes in a boat. it just goes against any principle. So I'm going to use a small one to do a pilot, and then a little bigger one, a 6 millimeter. And then after the 6 millimeter, I'm going to do the 12.5 millimeter. So the 12.5 millimeter, and I don't have exactly 12.5. This is a 12 millimeter, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's 12 millimeters. But it has a little bit of a leading thing too. So if you have a leader, it will follow the lead. So, and that's a 6 millimeter. So I'm going to do then the 6 millimeter and then use this as a lead. So I was thinking of starting with a 6 millimeter, but if it starts moving, I'm not sure. Maybe I should start with the 6 millimeter and skip the 3 millimeter. That's a 3 millimeter. Or maybe I should just do what I was thinking. First 3, then 6, then the 12. The next thing is to Loctite these guys, and if I use the pliers, I try to use it as low as possible, because the shoulder will come in now over here. So if I do damage, it will be I'm using a file and go through all these little holes here and all the little fibers that's still sticking out, just get rid of them. And the reason is that we need to epoxy the holes with a little layer of epoxy to seal the inside. And it sounds like Peter wants to go underway, so huh? I think I will complete it after we lift the anchor. So yeah, what do they say? Fixing boats in exotic places. It is drill time. So what I need to do now is all these holes have now little resin or epoxy, and some of them is now blocking the holes. So I just need now to ensure that the holes are clear of all epoxy. Sikaflex, especially in a hole, and then it will hopefully squash everything out, like you can see over there. I loosened it so we can jiggle it to fit into the holes, and then we will tighten it. Look at that.
Good to go.
Good to go. Okay, next one. So Pietro is just holding the little Allen key on top, and myself is then working here on these ones here. As you can see, I cut the bolts a little bit shorter, so it's much easier to handle. And what I'm doing, I'm taking one of these collars and put some Sikaflex here. Also a top on the inside. Then I stick it there, and then I put a nut on. And this is the finished product. If you look here, so I double tap, so I've got the one spare, and double tap there too, and I've got one spare there. And so what additional is that we have our our spinnaker lines or code sheets that we can now as well clutch if we need to. And we've got one here as well, spinnaker, and then additionally we've got an outhaul that's coming in, so that's a new one. This white one is a outhaul, and then the topping lift also coming in. So these two are new, and we always had the codes, but they were not on clutches. We can now chop and change between the winches with this aft organizers. They are TSR 20L for the long, because they are a little bit long. These are the XCS Spinlocks. The cam is from 8mm to 14mm. Very cool.